we finally reached the penultimate episode of My Hero Academia Vigilantes, and a lot has happened in this penultimate episode, from major reveals to even prominent changes that you may not have guessed would be changed. All that and more is going to be discussed in this video. Hey guys, how's it going? It is your boy, Manga Mandrew. I'm here to do my breakdown and review for My Hero Academia Vigilantes Season 1, Episode 11. And there's a lot that we're going to go into, and before we go into it, I'd like to ask you, if you haven't done so, to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more My Hero Academia content, as well as leaving a like and hitting that notification bell to be notified for whenever I upload more content like this. And with that out of the way, let's dive right into the episode. And to start off, the episode's title is The Day Of, which takes its name from Manga Chapter 22, which was renamed from Sermon in the official release. And this episode covers material from chapters 21, pages 4 to 21, chapter 22 in its entirety, and chapter 23, pages 1 to 13. And the episode starts with a mixture of previously used scenes to recap what has happened, with the anime adding new original scenes of Popstep and Koichi walking to meet up with the other performers as a way of transitioning them into the meeting, which was just abrupt in the manga. Also, the anime does clarify and explain the reason for why they are actually performing, which is to celebrate the store in Naruhata being fully repaired after the giant Godzilla attack. And the anime also adds on new scenes to the previous episode's ending segment by showing off Queen looking back in the direction where Knuckle Duster is without necessarily seeing him, and adding Knuckle Duster running on the roof before he spots Queen. These are very small changes that really adds to the story being told in the anime. But even then, there are certain things that the anime keeps the same as it was in the manga. For instance, once they arrive, they begin to meet up with the other performers as the anime retains the funny interactions they all have with each other, like in the manga, as they discuss how the performance will be conducted. Which shows that the anime keeps a lot of things the same, but in the next sequence, we get the montage like in the manga of Mui and Yu training to learn how to dance, with it being extended in the anime, as well as we get to see Pop learning the song and improving her singing very much like the manga. So we see that Mui and Yu are going to be a little bit more prominent in this segment, more than what they were in the manga, alongside the other performers such as the East High Naruto dancing troupe, as well as the Hatters, who are going to be more of the band for this entire sequence. But the anime does show something very important that is going to be important for the story of this episode, which is that in the anime, we see Mui's ankle getting injured during their dance training, as well as the president's reaction, which is not present in the manga and is just heavily implied to have been shown. And then even after the montage, we see Captain Celebrity in action with a small change to him fighting a villain. Because alongside this action being slightly extended upon in the anime, Rikiya Ino, the giant gorilla villain resembling King Kong in the manga, is being replaced by Giant Mollusk in the anime, which most likely is a change for copyright reasons, but everything else from Ichimoku and Jubei passing out flyers and Popstep singing and jumping in the air also remains unchanged between the anime and manga, really just showing how much the anime is changing from the manga. But then we do cut over to the reveal that Mui hurt her ankle, with this sequence remaining relatively unchanged, with Popstep stepping up to try and help Mui still remain in the performance, while they are also confirming what the performance will look like at the event. And alongside the sequence, we do get one very minor change that is in the manga but not in the anime, which is that in the manga, Makoto bluntly refers to Mui as the mean one when she's talking about her being injured, which she doesn't do in the anime, which is important because it does show that Makoto in the anime is a lot more professional than what she was in the manga. But even with those changes from the manga to the anime, the comedy itself remains the same, with Koichi being the butt of the jokes and being situationally unaware. And we begin to approach the second half of the episode with Queen revealing that she is going to use Teruo to cause some havoc in a more detailed confinement facility than what we got in the manga. And this section opens up with the main man Hafu singing very much like he was in the manga. Wonderfully, if I might add, as we get the proper reintroduction of Present Mike announcing the upcoming event, as we get the adaptation of the title page in chapter 22 as a poster on the wall in the department store. And afterwards, everything plays out pretty much like it was in the manga, from Pop being nervous, Koichi not knowing how to read the room, and the comedy being on point as we get the reintroduction of Midnight and see her very fun and interesting interactions with Yamada as he reveals that while the other heroes can't attend, who we see were present during the villain attack at Naruhata, we get the confirmation that Aizawa is on his way. And there are some small changes that are made to this part of the story, such as the addition of Popstep attacking Koichi when he calls Midnight sexy, as well as Death Arms and Best Genius are seen in the background of the performers in the green room in the manga, but are absent in the anime. Also, a fun addition that they add to the moment between Midnight and Yamada is having Present Mike speaking in English when he's trying to correct Midnight from calling him Yamada to calling him Mike.
No, Yamada, no. Please call me Mike. My name is Present Mike.
Which is fun because once again, this just shows that the story takes place 5 years prior to the main story of My Hero Academia, and this one is pretty much implying that they haven't seen each other in a while and most likely aren't teachers at UA, which is funny because Midnight makes a reference to the fact that this reminds her of a student-like festival type of performance, which is something that she enjoys. Once again, hinting at eventually Midnight being a teacher. Rest in peace, Midnight. And speaking of Aizawa is on his way, but unfortunately he gets involved with the Totoro attack like in the manga, but the anime does extend this sequence more and really shows off the amazing animation of Aizawa subduing Totoro as well as him swinging through the city majestically. But the anime does change how Aizawa restrains Totoro, using bindings coming from bushes, which does not necessarily make sense for how his bindings work, but it's cool, so we'll allow it. As well as the anime adding Totoro's reflecting on wanting to see Popstep more in the anime by adding flashbacks to it before he actually uses his electric powers. And very much like in the manga, this is where we get the reveal of Totoro's new quirk and how it has changed and how it has been hinted at to have changed prior in this episode by Aizawa using his erasure on him, but him not transforming back to normal. And we also see in the manga more clearly how much of the city loses power in comparison to what was in the manga, as well as a change from the manga to the anime is that people are seen being electrocuted by Totoro's attack, while in the anime only the power is affected. And just to add on to this, the electrocution effect used in the anime looks spectacular and is fantastic. But it's from this moment, very much like in the manga, as we're approaching the end. As we get Queen preparing her attack on the concert, as we get Knuckle Duster appearing, revealing that Queen is actually Tameo Oguro, his daughter, as we get very much like in the manga, the start of their battle, which is actually extended upon more in the anime as the episode ends. And I want to bring up how well this extended sequence is done, even in comparison to what we got in the manga. For instance, the anime does add a lot of amazing and fantastic sequences where there's a lot more motion in the fight, from the movement of the characters dodging and landing attacks, to even just showing how we're in a more windy environment as we see their clothes being blown back by the wind. And we even get to see how much of the hits have a lot more impact in the anime in comparison to the manga, and even getting a more detailed effect of the taser constantly going off, illuminating Knuckle Duster's face, which is all amazing. But the part that I really think is the best part of this adaptation that is really added upon, as well as not clearly shown in the manga, is how acrobatic Queen actually is. Because as we get the adaptation of the chase scene between Knuckle Duster and Queen, we see how much they made Queen feel more acrobatic in the anime versus the manga, And the same can be said about Knuckle Duster, as we see the well-animated sequence of him chasing Queen using his grappling. This just really shows how much care is being taken in this anime to add upon what we got in the manga. And that's pretty much it. This is pretty much my breakdown for this episode of My Hero Academia Vigilante. Once again, I thought this episode was fantastic. Many of the changes really adds to the story and the episode as a whole, and overall, it was animated spectacularly. But let me ask you this, what did you think about the episode? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? And was there anything that I might have missed? Leave your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for more content like this. Do all that cool jazz. Hopefully, I'll be able to catch you in my next video. Goodbye!